There's a kid somewhere right now who wakes up every morning and the first thought they have is that something is wrong with them. Not wrong with their day, not wrong with their situation, wrong with them. I've sat across from that kid. I've looked him in the eyes in a school hallway and wanted so badly to fix something I didn't know how to fix. And that feeling, that helplessness, is what eventually broke something loose in me and led to every word I've ever written. I spent years in education, English teacher first, then middle school assistant principal, and I want to be honest with you about something. There was a season in that work where I nearly gave up. Not because the job was hard, I knew it would be hard, but because of what I was watching happen to kids every single day and feeling completely powerless to change it. I'm talking about students carrying real trauma into school every morning. Things that happened at home, in their neighborhoods, in their own families. Things no child should ever have to carry. And then we'd wonder why they acted out, why they shut down, why they couldn't focus. I saw kids get labeled as bad or broken when what they were was hurting, and I couldn't fix it. I didn't have the tools. The system didn't always have the tools. And that gap between what these kids needed and what I was able to give them, it nearly swallowed me. I was defeated. I was depressed. I genuinely thought about giving up. But here's the thing about watching a kid survive something hard. That is a way of putting your own fear into perspective. I'd always wanted to be a writer. I mean, I was an English major, an English teacher. Words were always my thing, but I never actually wrote anything. Not really. Stephen Pressfield calls it resistance. It's that force that keeps you from doing the work you know you're supposed to do. I had lived with that resistance for years, but seeing those kids show up day after day with more courage than I had in my whole body, that was what finally broke it loose. I started writing Ugly Me as therapy for myself and for every adult who needed to see these kids differently. The Ugly Me series follows a little girl named Randy, and Randy's dealing with things that a lot of kids deal with, but don't always have the language for. Bullying, trauma, feeling like she doesn't belong, questioning her own worth. Now, these aren't easy topics, but they're real ones. And what I've learned from the teachers who use these books in their classrooms, from the counselors who read them with kids, from parents who've reached out to tell me that their child finally felt seen, is that when you give a hard thing a story, it becomes something a person can hold, something they can point to and say, that's me, and that's okay. The series is now a bestseller on Amazon, and it's being used in schools across the country. And I share that not to brag, but I share it because it tells me that this need is real, that the kids are out there, and that they're waiting. If you're a teacher, a counselor, a school psychologist, an administrator, this part is for you. You already know what I'm talking about. You see these kids every single day. The ones who act out because they don't know how to ask for help. The ones who go quiet. The ones who are holding something heavy and have nowhere to put it. You are doing some of the hardest, most important work that exists. And a lot of times you're doing it without enough tools, without enough support, without anyone acknowledging just how much you're carrying too. What I want Ugly Me to be is a bridge. A way into conversations that are hard to start. A mirror for a kid who needs to see themselves reflected somewhere. And a reminder to the adults around them that the way a child sees themselves often starts with the way we see them. Trauma-informed care isn't a program, it's a posture. It's deciding to look at a child and ask, what happened to you, instead of what's wrong with you. That's the heartbeat behind everything I write. And maybe you're watching this and you're not an educator. Maybe you're just a person who's carried something you didn't ask for. Maybe you are Randy. Maybe you know a Randy. And here's what I want you to know. The stories we tell about ourselves, about other people, the ones that get planted early, the ones that say, you're too much, you're not enough, those stories are not the final word. You get to rewrite them. And that's what I did. That's what I'm still doing. And that's why I'm here on this channel, putting these words into the world. Because if one person hears something today that shifts even a fraction of how they see themselves or the kids in their life, well, that's worth it. The Ugly Me series is available on Amazon. I'll drop the link below. If you're an educator or a parent and you want to know more about how these books are being used in schools, reach out to me. I really love those conversations, and that's my favorite thing about this. And if this video is the first of mine you've ever seen, welcome. This channel is going to be a space about creativity, about starting over, about doing the hard work and the meaningful work even when it's scary. I'm Josh Stamper. I write books as J.E. Stamper, and I write about things that are hard to say out loud. Subscribe if that sounds like something you need, and I'll see you in the next one.